Hi everyone, welcome to Buckle Up Podcast. I'm Natalia Earl and I'm a certified business and life coach that loves talking to people. I'm fascinated by humans and how our brain works. What is it that makes a decision good or bad, and how does that decision ultimately shape our path and destiny? Everyone loves to talk about success, but what about the flip side? How about adversity? Failure is such a big and often necessary part of life, and it's simply unavoidable. So I invite you to join me on this inspiring, honest, unpolished interview show with breathtakingly real conversations that go deep on setbacks and hardships that are part of the puzzle that ultimately lead to growth, discovery of inner greatness, and what makes us resilient. Grab your helmet and buckle up, people. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But what a ride it will be. Today I sat down with Amanda Finucane. She's a Minnesota native born and raised in the suburbs of Minneapolis, St. Paul. She enjoys staying active, especially outdoors, traveling, spending time with friends and family, trying new restaurants, and quiet nights in cooking with her boyfriend. She's a sales and marketing professional in the tech industry who loves animals and aspires to be a dog mom someday soon. Today, Amanda shares sneaky signs of abusive relationship and her brave journey to hell and back.
To me, it felt like it came out of nowhere because looking back now, I had a conversation with a friend the other night who is also a survivor. And just from what I've seen and researched and read, it typically victims tend to be people that either grew up around it, so it's like they're normal, or people that are really naive to it. I am definitely someone that was so naive to it. Like, I just thought, no, like, men never hit women. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. Like, you hear about it, but just felt so like almost like an after school special type
Right.
of a deal. So it was really shocking when that happened. And of course, like, it was like a dramatic situation. And then he immediately broke down and he started crying and apologizing. And that would be the pattern of every other time he did something like that. you know, he would act
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Or there was always an excuse why, you
Mm-hmm.
know. He never took responsibility, and these are all very common things that happen to people.
Right.
So, yeah, after that, I think if I remember correctly, I did kind of like break it off. I was like, I think that we need to stop right now, because I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
need to be like the older, more mature person here. I always did kind of look at him as like younger and more immature. So in a way, I feel like I gave him a lot of passes because I'm like, well, he's just young, and like feeling just like beat down. And that is something that happens when you stay in an abusive relationship. It
Mm-hmm.
happens almost under like, you don't realize it's happening to you. You know what I mean?
Sneaks up on you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, I definitely didn't admit it to myself, but I was starting to get really depressed and really anxious and really insecure. You start to think, like, you start to question yourself, like, what did I
Mm-hmm.
do to deserve this? Or what am I doing here? Why are these things happening? You know, one piece of advice I would give to people is never judge somebody that's either in an abusive relationship and they're not just up and leaving, or that stayed in one for a long time, because no one gets punched on the first date. You'd never go on another date with that person. It happens slowly and it progresses. And it's such a tricky thing because you're so close to this person.
Yeah.
They have like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They have two sides to them. It's very overwhelming, and it's hard to sort through in your mind, and you have a lot of confusion. So I'm feeling like I woke up the next morning, and this is how I like to put it, because I feel like everyone, if you've lived a little, you can relate to this feeling. You know
Mm-hmm.
that feeling when you fall asleep after a bad night and you're asleep just enough to kind of forget about it, and
Yeah.
then you wake up and you're kind of in this like, oh, and
For
then you
those
start,
like 2 minutes of like
yes,
nothing's wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yep, it's
Yeah.
just a normal day, and then the memories of the night before start coming in and your stomach
Just
sinks.
hits you. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ooh, that is the most intense feeling of that feeling I've ever had and hopefully will ever have in my life. And I was just like, and then I started to feel that like my face was bruised. And then I looked down and my finger was like had blood and was like bandaged. Um, and I was just like, I immediately grabbed my phone and I was like, oh my God, he got arrested last night. And so I went to the Hennepin County website to see if he was in jail. And sure enough, he was in there. And I was just like, and then at that point, I'm like, what do I do? Who do I tell first? Should I tell people? Like, I honestly at that point was like, should I even say anything to anyone? Little did I know he was immediately being prosecuted because there was so much evidence of what he had done to me. Um, just to give you the rundown, I had a really bad black eye. Maybe I'll show it now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was
It,
my eye. This is this lovely picture of me.
oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, so that was just my face. Um, I had my left hand ring finger. It's way better now, but later on when I talked to my victims advocate, we'll get into that. And then when I went and got checked out, they're like, what probably happened is my nail bed got pushed like this, but it was like ruptured and
Mm.
my nail fell off after a while. Like it's taken almost this whole 3 years to go back to normal. I had a black toe. I think I had a cracked rib. I never did get an x-ray. Later on, I did learn that if it would have been cracked, his charge would have went to a 5th-degree domestic assault misdemeanor to a felony. If there's broken bones, it's a felony. It does, you don't notice it's happening, like I knew that I was that things were not good, and I knew that
Hmm.
I was ignoring some major red flags, or like I probably should have, you know not given him so many chances. But it's hard. It's really, really hard when it's very serious abuse. It can be super dangerous for women to leave
Mm.
their situations. They always say, if you're going to leave, don't tell your abuser, leave. Because if you tell them you're going to leave, I think
They
somewhere
can
in the
hurt you.
statistics, your chances of being killed go up dramatically. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I really consider myself lucky and like I didn't,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like it was bad and so traumatizing and so hurtful and really kind of shook me to the core. I've always
Hmm.
been a really like calm, even keeled person. I mean, just like anybody else in this crazy world we live in, I've developed some anxiety issues, but this was like a whole new level. Like I've come a long way. I still struggle with it sometimes though. Like if I have like a really bad anxiety day and I even like think about this situation, it
Mm.
can totally send me over the edge. So, and that's something
Yeah,
that I want to further work on in therapy and try to overcome,
for sure.
because it's a lot of work. Like it totally can shake you to your core. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
like peeling an onion, it's just
mhm,
layer by layer, and day by day you have to heal those wounds, and you have
mhm,
to, work on forgiveness, and not only
yeah,
towards him but towards yourself, because sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, and
mhm,
we are our hardest critics, right? Just saying, how could I not see this coming? How could
yeah.
have allowed this to get so far? Why
Oh
did
my
I not
goodness.
stop it? And all these questions come up,
Yeah.
and the self.
Self-doubt. Yeah.
Mhm.
You nailed it, Natalia. I think the hardest thing for me and for a lot of people is really forgiving yourself. I
Mm.
forgive him. And honestly, my biggest hope, I would be so happy to somehow hear one day that he really dug deep and made some changes and will never
Mhm.
do this to another person. I'll never know
Yeah.
the answer to that, and I'm okay with that. But like, I really do hope that he got the help he needed. So when he was